I just made an appointment and I went to Planned Parenthood and did a pregnancy test, and they came in and said, yeah, you're pregnant. And I just remember being shocked.
Hurry up, get an abortion, we'll sweep this under the rug and just move forward. And it's just not that cut and dry.
But he didn't change what he was doing. He was still going out to the bar. And I was telling the father of my child, like, dude, you need to get a job. You need to get your life together.
And there's just something different about meeting a woman who's had an unplanned pregnancy and had to grind. I mean, we're just cut from a different kind of cloth than everybody else.
I think there has been just this stigma around single mothers that they don't deserve. They don't deserve to be celebrated. They don't deserve a baby shower. They don't deserve the extra help because they put themselves in this situation.
That shame followed me through multiple pregnancies, even when I was married.
I mean, you're in survival mode. No matter how confident you are and positive you are that you're going to get through this, you still have so much doubt and so much anxiety, and you're so hyper-focused on just trying to survive that the thought of friendship and support is like not even close to the top of your list.
Who I am today got built back in those really hard days, honestly. The days where nobody was coming to save me. Nobody was coming to fix the problem. It was just me and a baby. Our next guest grew up in a small town, one of two identical twins in a home that wasn't always steady, but where resilience became second nature. Early trauma shaped her teenage years and influenced choices in college that would ultimately lead her to a Planned Parenthood waiting room, staring at a positive pregnancy test. Her story is one of grit, determination, and transformation. From a college student navigating an unplanned pregnancy alone to a woman who refused to let her past define her. Meghan not only beat the odds, but never wavered in her belief that she could have both her education and her baby, ultimately building a life filled with purpose and hope. Did you know that supporting our podcast can be fast, free, and will make a huge impact? Consider taking a moment to leave us a 5-star review. It takes 2 seconds and truly helps more people find our message. And if you believe no student mom should have to face an unplanned pregnancy alone, you can make a tax-deductible donation by following the link in our show notes. Every bit of support helps us change lives. I can't wait for y'all to hear this story. Please welcome Meghan to Unplanned and Untold. Well, Meghan, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I'm really excited for our listeners to hear all about your story. There are so many twists and turns and different avenues you took before you landed where you are today. So tell us a little bit how you were raised and what life was like growing up in your family.
I mean, I had an okay childhood. My parents loved me and my sister. I actually have one identical twin.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a little rough. My dad was an alcoholic, and he's actually been sober now for, I want to say, 8 years.
It's amazing.
Yes, so grateful for that. And so, just growing up was kind of a roller coaster.
What was college life like?
I definitely was a wild child in college. And I wasn't in high school, because of everything that happened. I always felt isolated. And then, yes, you get to college and you get to be a new person and you get to kind of create your own life. And the one I chose to create was very destructive. And it definitely sent me down a dark path for sure.
So what were you majoring in? What were your hopes and aspirations going to college?
Well, I majored in political science. I do have a bachelor's degree in political science. My overall goal was to go to law school. That is what I really thought I wanted to do. I will say now that 20 years later, I am so glad I didn't go that route. I could never be a lawyer, ever. But that was the goal, that or some sort of local government.
Okay.
I do enjoy, I still do enjoy that. But that was the goal.
Okay.
Law school. Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, because we all know about this podcast, you find out you're pregnant. What year were you in college? And talk us through, how did you find out?
I was a junior in college, and I just didn't feel right. I felt really sick. and we had a local Planned Parenthood
Mm.
just down the road from where I lived in Ellensburg, Washington. That's where I went to college.
Okay.
So I just made an appointment and I went to Planned Parenthood and did a pregnancy test, and they came in and said, "Yeah, you're pregnant." And I just remember being shocked. I don't
Mm.
remember the conversation. I really do not. It was a blur.
Yep.
Um, they handed me like a packet of information,
Yep.
and it was just like I was by myself. So, yeah, I just remember right after that, I just went in my car and just cried. Just I was just overwhelmed and shocked, really.
Yeah. It's a lot to take in. And it's funny because a lot of us remember the initial positive pregnancy test or being told we're pregnant. And then it's almost like everything else after that for a good bit is a blank memory. I think your body just goes into fight or flight mode, almost like an out of body experience to a certain extent.
Oh, I agree. I A lot of times when I first started telling my story, I did a lot in the church, and so people would want to know what did they say to you?
Yeah.
What, and I'm like, I honestly have no idea.
Hmm.
I don't remember that. I don't know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely the same. That's a common thread during these interviews. So you're panicked, you're shocked. What does your relationship with the father of the baby look like at that time? Is he somebody that's a safe place to go to that you feel like, okay, this is our happily ever after, or what does that look like for you?
Absolutely not. We had been in a relationship at one point throughout college, but at this point, we were not in one. It was unfortunately so many of us go through that kind of roller coaster, tumultuous, very unhealthy relationship. And that's what that was. And so he was definitely not my first phone call after that. It was actually a
Okay.
very good friend of mine who had experienced an unplanned pregnancy in high school. And
Wow.
yes, and she was my best friend for many years, and she had given her baby up for adoption.
Oh,
And so that's the first person I called. When I did reach out to the father, it was also a very classic talk about abortion, right? Which I
mm-hmm.
think so many of us um, go through.
A
So.
100%. I remember when I told the father of my child, like it was yesterday, and that's the knee jerk reaction is we can't do this. We're too
Mhm.
young. There's no way.
Our
Like you need
whole
to get an
life's ahead
abortion.
of us. Yeah,
Yep, it's the same
all the
spiel. Do
things.
they listen to this for
There's a
themselves?
handbook for this, I think. I think.
Because their words are all the same. And it's like, hurry up, get an abortion. We'll sweep this under the rug and just move forward. And it's just not that cut and dry. It really is not, especially with us being the ones to go through that experience. And I always tell listeners, no matter what decision you make in an unplanned pregnancy, whether it be adoption, abortion, or parenting, those are lifelong choices. None of those are going to just fix the problem and everything's going to be fine and dandy for the rest of your lifetime. Those are commitments. And you've really got to wade through, okay, what do each of these entail? So when he was telling you, we just need to get an abortion and we're too young for this, what is your reaction? What's your thought process?
It never crossed my mind to get an abortion, and I'm very
Okay.
grateful for that. At this point in my life, and I know this won't be everyone's beliefs, but I was not a Christian at the time. I did not
Okay.
know Jesus, but that never crossed my mind, and I'm very grateful for that. Um, I can't tell you exactly what I was thinking. I just knew I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I actually myself am adopted. My twin sister and I were adopted at birth. And
Okay.
so my kind of initial, well, how could I deal with this?
Mm,
Probably leaned more towards that
that
of
makes sense.
if I'm not ready to do this, which I don't think anyone is, even if
Yeah.
you're married
Even when
and
you're
have,
married.
and yeah, I mean, I have four kids now, and every time it's
Yes.
like, oh, geez. So yeah, I think I was definitely leaning more towards, well, I know this experience. I know there's
Right.
this option. I experienced that. So, um, his his response or what he wanted, I think deep down we all want that to work out. I think even
Sure.
when you know that relationship's not healthy for you. This is probably not going to work no matter what. I think in those moments, you don't want to be a single parent.
Right.
You don't want to do that alone. So you are hoping that you can work it out. And
Yep.
um, but I knew. I think we
Mm-hmm.
all do.
Yeah, in our hearts,
Yeah.
when the relationship is rocky and you're trying to force something, because that's exactly where I was. I mean, there was infidelity, there was
Hmm.
just lots
Hmm.
of drinking, nights at the bar. I mean, it just
Yes,
was a
all the
roller
things.
coaster. All of it. And I
Yeah.
was grasping at straws to just make it work. And then you find out you're pregnant and you go into a panic mode of like, okay, I guess this is my life because I don't want to do this alone. And who's going to want me with a baby? But it doesn't always work out that way. And for the better, for the most part, for the better.
Yes. Yeah.
So, how do you break the news to your parents and what is their reaction?
Um, my mom was already coming up to visit me at school. So Ellensburg is only about 2.5 hours from where I
Okay.
grew up. And so sometimes she would come up and just, visit me and see how I was doing. And she had come up and we had went to breakfast. It was on a weekend, obviously. And I just told her we were sitting across from breakfast and it's like, hey, I need to tell you this. And her first reaction was, well, you're not quitting school.
Wow. Okay.
And that had never crossed my mind either. I was like, well, duh. Not doing that. But that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. And yeah, she's like, we're going to have to tell your dad. You're going to need to come home and do that because this is going to be harder for him. And so I did, the following week, I drove home and told my dad. But yeah.
Pretty awesome that your mom's first statement was you're not quitting school. I mean, because underneath all the layers of the fear and the anger and the oh my gosh, life is changing, like she believed that you could do it without saying it in that moment. I mean, she knew that you were somehow going to be able to pull this off and that wasn't an option for you to quit. And so that, I mean, that is a beautiful, to a certain extent, reaction based off a lot of the other reactions we hear from parents that just
Right.
come on out.
Yeah, no, I know. And I am grateful for that. I think she has gone through a lot in her own life, right, with my dad and just dealing with alcoholism with him. And so I
Mhm.
think that it made sense for her to react that way. It was, hey, this is not going to get in the way of what you're trying to accomplish. So
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, other than your friend that you told from high school and knowing that you've got to stay in school and stick this out, what does your support system look like moving forward in college?
I mean, it's so hard in
Hmm.
college to be pregnant. I
Absolutely.
knew other pregnant girls. They were engaged or married.
Okay.
Um, so I did meet. This is funny. When I was about 3 months pregnant, I did like a water aerobics class, and I met another pregnant. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
and she actually was a single mom. And I actually still communicate with her every
Wow.
once in a while. So. Um, I forgot your question now, but yeah, I met her,
Okay.
and as far as a support system goes, you're very isolated. I
Mhm.
did have two really good girlfriends that really stuck it out with me through the
Right.
next, my pregnancy and then my senior year. But yeah, you're pretty isolated. So.
What did it look like financially for you? Did your parents come in and help you financially walk through this process, or were you one of those students that had to work and finish school while you were pregnant?
The second, yeah,
Mm.
I finished school. I applied for different loans. I mean, once you find out you're pregnant, you can access different financial aid options, which I absolutely did. Very grateful for that. But no, I actually got an internship at the Kittitas County Auditor's Office. It was
Wow.
originally unpaid, but I talked them into paying me
I
because I
love
was
that.
pregnant.
So
Come on.
you told them straightforward that you were pregnant.
Yes.
I
And
love
so
that.
they let me do that and they paid me to work there. So I was really grateful for that. My parents couldn't afford, they were already not paying for my college. Um,
Right.
I always worked through college. It was part-time,
Right.
and I took out student loans, but no, my parents weren't able to financially support me. And so they helped where they could. But no, I worked and I took care of what I needed to take care of.
You had to
Yeah.
grind. You had to grind.
Girl.
I've said this to so many other podcast guests, and I'll say it again. There's just something different about meeting a woman who's had an unplanned pregnancy and had to grind. I mean, we're just cut from a different kind of cloth than everybody else because we don't have a choice. And,
Mhm.
all the uncertainties and then having to juggle college life. I mean, that's a whole
Oh
nother
yeah. It's a whole
door
nother
to
podcast.
open. Truly. With your friends and your social life, how did that change for you personally?
Well, pretty dramatically, because like I said, I was pretty wild. So when you go from partying every weekend to pregnant,
Right.
um,
It's a
um,
totally different life.
it's yep. And at that time, the father and I were trying to work it out, but he didn't change what he was doing. He was still going out to the
Yeah.
bar. He was still having uh, there was so much infidelity in that
Hmm.
relationship. And so his life was not impacted by my pregnancy whatsoever. But yes,
Right.
mine definitely was. Lots of nights at home alone. Lots of extra studying,
There you
right?
go. It's a good
A
piece of it.
very much a shift of focus.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, it was definitely hard and definitely different. I'm grateful that it changed the trajectory of where I was headed. But yes, very
Absolutely.
isolating for sure.
And what's interesting is, academically, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, these pregnant moms or these single moms, they're not going to make it in college. They're not going to be able to keep up. But statistically, what we see is the pregnant and parenting moms actually do better than their
Mm,
colleagues because their goal has shifted and you have to now. There's somebody else involved in this equation. You have a child that you're going to have to provide for one day. And it really lights a fire underneath us to where we have to get our work done, do it well, and get out of school as quickly as we can. And so it's a bit of a flip of an understanding of, oh my gosh, these student moms, they're not going to make it. We tend to do better than our colleagues do, honestly.
well, yeah. I mean, I was telling the father of my child, like, dude, you need to get a job. You need to get
Right?
your life together. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
over here. I didn't have a car. I would
Wow.
stroll my daughter to campus.
Wow.
Um, or if or if the weather was really bad, we'd take a cab.
Oh my
Sometimes he would come
gosh.
pick me up. It depended on the week. But yeah, I would walk Charlotte to school in a stroller. She would go to the on-campus childcare there, which I arranged, and I would go to school. And I think because we had the father of my child and I had such different upbringings. His
Mm,
parents were very wealthy. They paid for everything for him. He never had to work.
mm.
Um, that it took him a lot longer than me to make the necessary adjustments to prepare for having a child and being able to support someone other than yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a staunch difference between how our lives change and how the father of the child's lives don't exactly
Don't like
change.
at all.
No, it really is a common thread that we've got to wade through a lot of the yuck. And honestly, I wouldn't take it back because when I look back at, oh my gosh, who am I today? Well, who I am today got built back in those really hard days, honestly. The days where nobody was coming to save me. Nobody was coming to fix the problem. It was just me and a baby, just like you. And that really builds something inside of you that sometimes having an easy life just doesn't produce.
Right. Oh, I agree. I think that has made it so much easier for me to be open about my story and to encourage other women that I meet through the hardship. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I know we all have different personalities. But yeah, just to encourage them that you can do this and you are equipped to do it. And I'm just so grateful for organizations like yours, Baby Steps, that really come alongside women and practically
Hmm.
support them. Um, Positive vibes and prayers and all those things are very important, but to be able to actually physically help these women is just, it's amazing. And I'm so grateful that you have stepped up and championed something like that. So,
It is the sweetest thing. I just saw a social media post from our hub at the University of Alabama, and it's all these student moms with their babies on the lawn, you know, in front of their campus. And what I would have given to have been able to experience that kind of camaraderie and to experience that friendship from somebody who was walking the road that I was walking. It's still hard for these girls, even though they have housing, they have childcare, they have tutoring, they have counseling, they have everything they need at their fingertips to be able to graduate. But that doesn't negate the emotional stress of doing it all by yourself and realizing this is not how I planned my life. I did not think it was going to go this way. And still, they still have to emotionally heal and pivot and make the best from what they have. But it is such a beautiful thing to see all of them together and to know that our communities believe that these student moms deserve more and that they're capable of achieving the dreams that they first set out to when they applied for college.
right. And I think the key word there is deserve. I think there has been just this stigma around single mothers that they don't deserve. They don't deserve to be
Mm-hmm.
celebrated. They don't deserve a baby
Mm-hmm.
shower. They don't deserve the extra help because they put themselves in this situation. Meanwhile, baby daddy over here
Yep.
is completely ignored in that equation.
Yep.
His situation is invisible. He is not pregnant. He is
Mm-hmm.
not right walking around with everyone knowing and everyone able to see. And so, yeah, they do deserve to be celebrated. They do deserve to be supported.
We are hard enough on ourselves. I don't think you'll ever meet a student mom that thinks this is the best thing that's ever happened to her
Right,
to get
right.
pregnant while in college.
Loving this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. We beat ourselves up enough. And when I even think back to my baby shower that some of my friends threw for me, I didn't feel like they should have done that. I didn't feel like I
You
deserved
felt
it. I
ashamed.
was ashamed. I didn't take maternity photos. I was ashamed. And now that I'm removed from that, that shame followed me through multiple pregnancies. Even when I was married, that same
Hmm.
feeling of, this isn't right. I shouldn't be proud of this. You know, there was a lot of healing that needed to be done to get to a point where I'm like, wait, maybe by the fourth baby, I'm married. I did this right. It's okay to celebrate this. But we do beat ourselves up enough that we don't need that extra societal judgment and that stigma that comes along with it. And that is my hope for this podcast, is that we can start putting these conversations on the table. There are too many stories that have not been told, too many narratives that have been told for other women that they didn't get to speak their truth into, that it's time for us to get our voices back, talk about what happened to us, and challenge the world to do better for these single moms.
Yes, yes. Amen, sister. Yeah. I mean, and I think so many people think disqualify themselves from having this conversation or thinking they can relate to it or thinking they can help a woman who has experienced an unplanned pregnancy. And that is just so false. It's so untrue. There are so many different ways that you can come alongside a single
Yes.
mother, so many different ways you can relate to her. Um,
Yes.
and so, yeah, I agree with you. I think these stories need to be told, and people need to realize that the women who find themselves in these situations are thinking all of the things that you think you need to tell them already.
Yep.
So you don't need to
Absolutely.
say it. You just
Hmm.
need to figure out a way to help them.
I love that. So, were there any people that came into your life during or after your pregnancy that positively impacted you? And what does life look like now with those people?
Um, I had, like I said, I had a couple of really close girlfriends, and I'm very grateful for their support through that. Um, But honestly, throughout my senior year, finishing my senior year, I mean, my friendship group was so tiny that I
Mm,
definitely wouldn't say there were extra people that came alongside me throughout
right.
school. Um, unfortunately. My parents, like I said, were still supportive. My sister, but she wasn't in state. She was going to college out of state. So it was very much kind of me. And then when I had my daughter, just kind of me and her figuring it out.
Wow. So take us back to graduation day. What was it like knowing that you had fought so hard to get there? You had overcome so many obstacles that really would have stopped other people. What did it feel like to know you did it?
I mean, I was like, duh, of course I did
I
this.
love it.
Like, what do you mean? But I was very excited. And I remember actually my daughter was very, very feverishly sick that day. I felt so
Oh,
awful. My parents were with her the whole day. They did come to graduation, but she was so sick. I vivid. Yeah, I was jacked and I was excited for what was to come. And I never doubted that that's where I would be.
I love
So,
that confidence so much. And I hope that there are pregnant women listening to that. To hear you say, don't even question it. Don't even let the thought that you can't have both your education and your baby come into your mind, because you absolutely can. Is there anything you feel like you would have done differently?
anything I would have done differently. I mean, I wish I would have sought out some sort of support.
Hmm.
So like kind of echoing what you were saying, I wish I had a group of women on campus who were going through the same thing I was going through that I could lean on, you
Hmm.
know. But I wasn't at home. I lived 2.5 hours away. I was trying to finish my degree. I didn't have a lot of friends at that time. And so I just wish I would have sought more of that support out. I don't know if it existed.
Yeah.
I
Probably not.
don't.
It didn't exist when
Probably
I went
not.
through it.
But yeah, I was so hyper focused. I mean, you're in survival mode, no matter how positive you are.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I had very low lows, but no matter how confident you are and positive you are that you're going to get through this, um, you still have so much doubt and so much anxiety, and um, I think that you're so hyper focused on just trying to survive that the thought of friendship and
Mm,
support is like not even close to
right.
the top of your list.
Right.
Not even close.
No. And a part of you thinks I don't deserve it. Like I did this to myself and I'm going to figure it out by myself. And sometimes the hardest parts about running baby steps is to get these student moms to accept the free diapers, to accept the clothes. They don't want to. And we're like, this baby boutique, because at every hub they have a beautiful baby. It looks like a store, but it's all brand new or gently loved baby items. And you would think that it would be so easy to get rid of all these items and have the no, we have to lovingly coach our student moms like, this is for you. Like, take advantage of it. Do not feel bad about this, because this is how our community wants to support you. And we've got to get rid of that stigma and that thought process of I don't deserve other people's help, because it's real.
Oh, I remember applying for food stamps and feeling so ashamed.
Yes.
I'm over here living off of, $300 a month on TANF,
Yeah.
trying to get through school and being ashamed of that.
Mm-hmm.
What? That is
That's why it's there.
crazy.
It literally is why it
Yes.
exists, is to help people who are in that point of life that need that extra boost. But absolutely, I mean, I could go on and on about what it used to be back then when we had those vouchers for WIC.
Yes. Oh.
Traumatizing those days.
Oh, it was. Oh my gosh. Like you're like rifling through your stuff and you're like,
Yes.
here,
And
take
you have this
this.
like bright orange folder,
Oh
with
gosh.
all of your, and then you have to separate out all of your groceries.
Oh,
And if you grab the wrong ounce size of cereal or
what you
beans,
didn't get
you
it.
didn't get it.
Disqualified. Oh, it was yeah.
It was totally different than how it is now. I look back and just laugh, and I'm so grateful for the assistance. But oh my goodness, that was a journey in itself.
Oh yeah. People have no idea. And
No.
and even now, talking to maybe women that aren't necessarily didn't have an unplanned pregnancy, but they're a single parent now.
Yes.
And there's still that shame
Yes.
where, oh, if I take advantage of these things that are designed for literally this,
Yes.
that I'm a freeloader, I'm a loser,
Yeah.
I mean, we all experience those thoughts, and it's just not true.
It's not. It absolutely is not. So if you could go back to younger you, Meghan, and tell her some sort of piece of advice, what would you say to yourself now that you've gone through everything you've been through? You're on the other side. You have a beautiful family now. You live a beautiful life. What would you say to your younger self?
I would say just be patient. Honestly, just wait. It's so hard to do that. It's so hard, especially as when you're a single parent. You think, I need a husband, my daughter needs a father, I need a house, I need the white picket fence, I need all of this, and I need it right now, or I'm failing. And that's just not true. So I would just say, wait.
I have chills. And that's such beautiful advice because it does come. You just have to be patient. You have to be patient with yourself and know that, listen, there's a plan and you're going to make it to the other side, and just stay steadfast and you will get there. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about, your family life now, so that past all the struggle, past all the pain you've gone through, what does your beautiful life look like?
Well, I met my husband when Charlotte was 3.
Mm,
And I was just so grateful for him. If kind of back to your question of who came alongside you, it would have definitely been him.
mm.
Very much redeeming me and helping me and supporting me, not doing things for me, not paying
Right,
my bills, but
right.
just encouraging me to step into the woman I could be.
Yes.
So we got married in 2014. And then we now have another daughter, Piper. She's 9. We have Kellen, he just turned 8, and then we have Case, he is 3.
Mm.
And everybody's favorite. So Charlotte, my unplanned pregnancy, is graduating this year.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it is so wild. I cannot
Wow.
accept it. I'm not
Oh,
accepting it.
goodness.
So my husband farms, and then he also works just in the ag industry, doing fert and chem, selling fert and chem. And yeah, we live in a little small farming community. We've got all the things that come along with that, the chickens, the cows,
I love
uh,
it.
the pigs when
Homestead
it's
life.
4-H season. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's actually 5 baby kittens right now. So the
Oh
kids
my
are
gosh.
constantly, I homeschool. Charlotte goes to high school,
Okay.
but we homeschooled all through middle school, and then now I homeschool the other little ones. And I will walk in
Wow.
the room. They do separate math. So I don't teach all the subjects. They do
Okay.
math by themselves.
Nice.
So they each take a math online class, and I'll walk in, and there's inevitably a baby kitten like snuggled in. I'm like, what are you doing?
The
Get that thing out
wild
of here.
farm life.
Get that thing out of here. But yeah, so I'm just so grateful. And I will say, I know it doesn't end that way for every single mom. I
Mhm.
actually have a really good personal friend who um, is a little bit older than me. She's in her 40s, and she's still single.
Right.
And so I just want to say that even if your life doesn't turn out to be that married with more kid fairy tale,
Right.
there's so much fulfillment and so much goodness and so much that you can have. And I just want to make sure that women can cling to that.
Yes.
It's going to look different for everyone, but just knowing and being able to wait and see what that does look like for you.
I love that. Well, Meghan, thank you so much for sharing your heart, sharing your struggles and all of your triumphs along with it. I really hope that this episode reaches girls who need to know that you can make it. You can overcome all those hurdles, and life is not over when you get that positive pregnancy test. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun.
Yes, me too. And to all of our listeners, we hope to have you back for our next episode of Unplanned and Untold. Bye-bye. Unplanned and Untold drops new episodes every other Wednesday. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review if you love this episode. I'm Caitlin Willing, and this is Unplanned and Untold.